interior hall, the lowest level possible. Close all doors to the hallway for greater protection. If possible, get under something sturdy, like a heavy table. Protect yourself from flying debris, of course, with pillows, heavy coats, blankets, quilts, whatever you can find. Use bicycle or motorcycle helmets to protect your head if possible. In mobile homes, leave well in advance of the approaching severe weather and go to a stronger building. If there's no shelter nearby, get into the nearest ditch, a low spot, underground culvert, something, lie flat, covering your head with your hands for protection. So these are some more safety tips to pass along from the National Weather Service, just in case this does develop into something further.
Always great tips to pass along, Walter. And while you were doing that, I did put a couple more communities on our Storm Tracker 6 live radar here. So again, if you are still on the air, still watching us on the air, we've been following what is now our third tornado warning of the evening. And this one is for Berks County and also into Chester and Montgomery County. The tracker that I put on this, because the latest update had this moving east at 20 miles per hour, this tracker is more so looking at Berks County, moving due east into Montgomery County. So 703, Amity Gardens, Pine Forge at 710, Upper Glasgow at 714, 718 in Upper Pottsgrove, 724 in Lower Pottsgrove, and 727 in the New Hanover area. You know, I'm not seeing, there's no interstates in this area. So, you know, just for going off the top, away from here, Swamp Pike, that's also a pretty largely traveled road. As I kind of move this, you'll see more and more places pop up. So we mentioned Upper Pottsgrove and the Pine Forge area. We're looking at areas around Pine Forge Road, Douglas Drive, Colebrook Dale Road, Evans Road. Again, this is moving east out of Berks County and crossing over into Montgomery County. This tornado warning does include portions of northeastern Chester County, but just looking at this, eyeballing it, the worst of it right now is due east of Berks into Montgomery County. So we'll see if we can get anything with our storm relative velocity. This is the latest frame here. Again, there hasn't been a strong couplet or a strong indication of rotation, but there is some from Amity east to Pine Forge and Upper Pottsgrove.
And once again, just to be clear, what we're making our way through here right now is a tornado warning as of right now, right, Brittany? We have not confirmed anything as far as anything touching down. We have seen some funnel clouds, but nothing so far touching the ground.
That's right. So far, nothing has touched the ground, but with the update to the tornado warning that the National Weather Service put out, at 6:45, there was a report of a funnel cloud in Berks County, 2 miles southwest of Lorraine. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that. Video was received from this location of a funnel cloud south of Reading and west of Birdsboro. So that's why they issued that tornado warning. That continues until 7:30. So again, we're looking can kind of get back to our bearings, if you will, of where we're looking at. I know we cover a big viewing area. You know, if you're tuning in from the Jersey Shore right now, no issue for you. If you're tuning in from Delaware right now, Philadelphia, no issue for you. The Poconos, no issue. This is specifically over Berks County and into Montgomery and northeastern Chester County. This tornado warning is until 7:30. Right now, the time is 7:05, and, you know, we're doing everything that we can to make sure that those that might be in the path of this storm are in a safe location. So no additional updates have come in just yet from the National Weather Service. The one that we had a couple of minutes ago was talking about areas southeast of Reading moving east at 20 miles per hour. So I'll put a few more communities on here and track things.
Overall, Brittany, has the number of tornadoes in this area, we had that one year that was extremely active several years ago. And since then, we've had a few reports here and there. Overall, is it a larger number? If you exclude that one year where we had just a tremendous amount of tornadoes, in general, has the number increased across this region?
Absolutely.
How about that?
You know, even if you look at the last 5 years, I've only worked here for a little over 2 years, and I think we had, was it 2021? I can think of that year we had at least over 10 confirmed tornadoes.
Sure.
Last year we had several tornadoes. Already this year we've had a couple of confirmed tornadoes. So, you know, we say to people this isn't Tornado Alley, but this is becoming kind of the new normal around here.
And even going beyond our professional careers, you grew up in this region.
Right.
I grew up in central New Jersey. Very little recollection of anything like this in terms of the number of tornadoes. I don't think there was one when I was in Jersey growing up as a kid. I could be wrong. I didn't watch the news when I was 5, but you know, when you get to 10, 15, 20, you remember those things if it does come across the pike. I have no recollection of that happening very much at all.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a couple of tornado warnings when I was a kid, but
Sure.
you know, now, like I said, it's kind of becoming the new normal around here.
Fair to
So-
say relatively common? Is that a step too far?
It might be a step too far. I kind of like the new normal. We all need to be more aware that this is something that can happen here. And I want you to kind of hold that thought for a moment because we are getting an update from the National Weather Service. Let me put the warning back on here. Just give it a second to load.
While you're doing that, a few more safety tips. This is interesting. This is from the National Weather Service, because this is something you don't think about all the time, but what do you do if you're in a vehicle or you're outdoors? According to the National Weather Service, they say when tornadoes are possible, limit your outdoor plans or finish them early. Stay close to a sturdy shelter. If caught outside, find shelter in a ditch or remain in your vehicle and cover your head for protection. Don't take shelter under a highway overpass, which is what I would have done had I not known this, where wind speeds can increase due to a tunneling effect. It's best to not put stay away from doors, stay away from windows, outside walls, and protect your head at all times. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, always some good tips. All right, I have new information to pass along. So the National Weather Service has now canceled the tornado warning for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery County. So our crew in the control room, you can wipe that clear, but we do have a new tornado warning that has just been issued. This one is for parts of Chester County, and then also into Lancaster County. The difficult thing with this is that it falls into 2 different jurisdictions of Weather Service offices, so I'm gonna kind of have to bounce back and forth to look at the actual report that just came in. So here's the latest polygon that just came through. Again, if you're tuning in from Berks, Chester, Montgomery County, that cell that we were watching not too long ago, they've allowed that to expire, but there has been a newly issued tornado warning, and this includes portions of Chester and also Lancaster County. So I'm going to read the bulletin that just came through. So at 7:05 Eastern Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near this falls into 2 different jurisdictions of the National Weather Service. So you have one office in Mount Holly, New Jersey, and then you have another office out of the State College area. So I'm trying to get into that tornado warning to see if that offers us any additional information. So the severe thunder, okay, same location, Mount Vernon, east at 20 miles per hour. So this is for southeastern Lancaster County. So you've probably seen the warning for a little while now. We'll put the radar look on it.
And when it says hail size, does that mean there is hail? Or if there was hail, that would be the size?
If there was hail, that would be the size.
Okay.
And we can look at that product in just a moment here. I just want to look at this cell, and we'll put a few more communities on here just because this is the newest tornado warning to come through. So all of these cells have been moving relatively slow, due east at about 20 miles per hour. Not a lot of communities popping up here. Right now the time is 7:11, and you're looking at 7:23 in Homeville, 7:30 in West Fallowfield, and then the third community there at 7:36. I'm going to see if any other locations were listed in their tornado warning. Okay, so it does offer a few more places: Oxford, West Grove, Homeville, also Mount Vernon, Cochranville, South Coatesville, and also Modena. So we'll clear this out, and as Walter was mentioning, does this have any hail with it? Not seeing a whole lot of it. I mean, you can see this orange shade that just popped up. Small hail is possible. So that's why when we show the warning, it shows the potential of how much hail could be falling. Excuse me. So again, we're looking at this newly issued tornado warning that includes portions of Lancaster County and also Chester County. I'm not getting any reports of any funnel clouds or any reports of confirmation from anybody in the public. Not seeing a whole lot of rotation, but as I mentioned, this falls between two different offices, so it's a little muddy here looking at the storm relative velocity. Again, when we only show this product on the air when there's any kind of rotation that might be out there, and we look for a couplet or a radar signature that would indicate rotation or spin in the atmosphere. Typically, you want a very bright green or red side to side to have that actual signature. I'm glad we're not seeing that right now. But if there were to be a tornado, again, we haven't had any reports of one. If there were to be a tornado, we would be looking right here in this area. I'm going to include Homeville in it just because you're kind of in between areas. So
once again, Brittany, this is a tornado warning, right? Not a tornado watch.
Yes, this is a tornado warning. So this means that now is the time that you need to be in that safe location. So we can put that up just because we're looking at a new area. You know, maybe you were grilling with the family, it's the 4th of July weekend, maybe your 6ABC app went off, and you might be just turning on the TV now trying to get more information on what's happening. This is I think our third tornado warning of the night, third or fourth tornado warning of the night. If you're just tuning in right now because you fall into the Chester or Lancaster County area, you want to seek shelter now. Going into a basement is the best location you can be, a closet or an interior hallway. You want to avoid windows, stay and move indoors, and you want to get under a sturdy object. Although a tornado has not been reported every single time there's a tornado warning, you want to treat it as if a tornado can happen.
With that said, Brittany, you don't want to wait until you see the tornado.
Yeah.
At that point, it could be too late.
It's too late at that point. And it's a holiday weekend. A lot of people are trying to do things outside. People want to have a good time. We don't want to see anybody get hurt. We don't want to just see anybody make a bad decision because
it's not worth it. Just play safe, and once it's over, we will let you know.
Absolutely. So I'm going to put the warning back on here just so we can kind of give people an idea of where we're talking about. I mentioned, if you're at the shore right now, this does not impact you. If you're tuning in from Dover, even Philadelphia right now, this warning is for this red polygon until 7:30, and that is for Lancaster and Chester counties. So we're looking at basically north of New London here. So we'll put the radar view back on. And I will put a few more communities on here. Unfortunately, when we did this the last time, not a lot of places came up, but we'll see what happens this time. Moving east, all right, we've got a couple of places on the map here. The time right now is 7:16, 7:25 in Homeville, 7:31 in Glenville, Edenton, apologies, 7:34. And then the last location on the list is at 7:37. Not getting any updates from the National Weather Service of anything that has been confirmed. But like I just said a couple of minutes ago, every single tornado warning, you want to treat it as if there could be a tornado. This does not mean it might happen. This means it could happen or it might be happening at this moment. Still seeing a little bit of rotation here on our storm relative velocity product, which...
What are you looking for in terms of what that's displaying? How does that tell you if there's rotation? Because all I see is purple squares and rectangles and green stripes.
Well, that's what we went. That's what we went to school for.
Yeah, I didn't. Just so we know.
Yeah, I know. This is, as I've been mentioning, we only show this product when there is a tornado warning. So what you're essentially looking for, and we're not seeing a strong signature, but what you're essentially looking for is the change in wind direction. So we're looking at the green being the wind that's moving toward the radar, and the red with the wind moving away from the radar. So, this isn't the best example of where there could be a tornado, but because we do have kind of that muddied looking area right in here, this is a product that I can use and say, if there is a tornado happening, this is where it is, because this is where I'm seeing that change in wind direction right now.
So the variety of color indicates that?
Yes, yeah. So we're looking east of Colran. Let me wipe this off. Around the area of Homeville. Again, nothing has been confirmed. This is just a tool that I'm able to use kind of in our toolkit to look at where there could be a tornado in progress. And right now, we're seeing more lightning strikes popping up, so that this storm might be, in a way, strengthening. It's not weakening at this point.
Wow.
So, again, Lancaster County into Chester County, we are looking at the possibility of a tornado here.
Now, what makes it strengthen?
I mean,
a number of things?
Yeah, a number of things. I mean, there's a lot of energy in the atmosphere today. We look at things such as CAPE, the convective available potential energy. On a normal summertime day, you might be looking at CAPE values around 1,000 joules per kilojoule. Today, the CAPE values are over 2,000. So there's a lot of energy to work with in the atmosphere today. We've got a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. So there's several different ingredients, and that's kind of what this is tapping into right now. So as I just said, it looks like this particular severe thunderstorm could be strengthening. The update from the Weather Service is continuing this tornado warning until, still continuing until 7:30. So I'm gonna put the polygon back up, and I'm gonna read any additional locations.
So when it strengthens, does that necessarily mean it gets larger?
Doesn't mean the tornado is getting larger. It means that
the area where it could happen.
It means that the thunderstorms are getting more intense in that area. The more
so it doesn't necessarily mean the cell's getting larger.
Doesn't necessarily mean that. It's just getting more intense at that moment. So you probably just saw this kind of flashed and moved a little bit farther east. They've tightened up the polygon a little bit. And the latest update that just came in, so now as this kind of moves its way out of Lancaster County, this is just falling into the Mount Holly Weather Service office jurisdiction. So, okay, there we go. The State College National Weather Service office has canceled the tornado warning in Lancaster County, and it continues into Chester County. All right, so at 7:18, 2 minutes ago, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Homeville, or 15 miles northwest of I want to say Newark, moving east at 20 miles per hour. Okay, so it's using Newark as a frame of reference just because we're in southern Chester County here. So this is the area that we're looking at. If you were following the tornado warning in Lancaster County, the worst of it has moved out of your area. So we'll put the radar product on here. And a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Homeville. So taking the lightning off here for a second. So we're looking at this area that the updated bulletin just mentioned, that a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Homeville. So we will track from Homeville. This is still moving east at 20 miles per hour. Let me redo this. Let me zoom out a little bit. So we know Homeville is right in here. So again, now out of Lancaster County, moving east at 20 miles per hour. The time right now is 7:22. We're looking at 7:32 in Edenton. 7:36 Fags Manor, and Green Lawn at 7:48. Those are some of the latest communities that have populated on our Storm Tracker 6 live radar of where a severe thunderstorm is capable of producing a tornado.
And Brittany, over the years, I've covered many tornadoes, different kinds of storms. And many times, under circumstances like these, you also end up reporting on things that weren't tornadoes, straight line winds, microbursts, things like that. I'm assuming, right, that conditions are favorable for something like that as well.
Yeah, conditions are favorable today for, not just the isolated tornado threat, but also the damaging winds. We talk about straight line winds that can produce winds gusting 60 to 70 miles per hour. So all severe weather threats are on the table for today. The tornado risk has been on the lower end of the spectrum, but it's still there. Fortunately, I just got logged out of this. So I'm gonna put this down real quickly here. I'm able to visually show you what's going on right now. Many thanks to Paul Trombello, our meteorologist and weather producer. He's going to run some of the graphics for me behind the scenes, coming in on his day off for the 4th of July, doing what he can and our team can do to help keep everybody safe in this situation here, as we have had a number of tornado warnings across our area this evening. Our latest warning that continues until 7:30 includes Chester County. This cell was moving out of Lancaster County, so the time right now is 7:24. We're looking at the Homeville area at 7:26. The latest update that came through just a couple of minutes ago had this cell, the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado right over Homeville. So Homeville, you still need to be in your safe location. 7:31 in Upper Oxford. Edenton at 7:34. Elkview at 7:40, 7:43 in Jennersville, and 7:51 in London Grove. So again, if you're just joining us, or maybe you've been with us, we've been following tornado warnings since Jamie's Sportscast. We continue to follow the severe weather threat that is moving across our area. We did have tornado warnings earlier in Lehigh and Berks County. That cell has weakened. We had a cell that moved through Berks, Chester, and Montgomery County. That has weakened. So now our one tornado warning that is out there is moving through Chester County. This originally did originate in Lancaster County, but it has moved out of the county. So Lancaster County, you are no longer in the path of this severe thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado. So you're looking east of the Cole Rain area, and this red polygon is that severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. So what Paul's kind of doing here is we're zooming in as tight as we can to see if we get any highly populated roads that might come up. The Homeville area was one that we were looking at. It looks like we have Old Limestone Road between Upper Oxford and the Russellville area. Not a lot of roads in this area, but hopefully, if this is your road or you know somebody that lives along this road, hopefully they are in their safe location, which is the basement. Again, the best place that you can be. So here are a few more places. Glenville Road, Sawmill Road, Center Hall Road, High Point Road. I mean, this is hyper local. We're likely looking at somebody's neighborhood. We have Becky Lane there, Hawkins Road I'm seeing to the south, Calamar Road. All of these areas, the worst of this severe thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado is moving over your area right now.
A new tornado warning at 8 o'clock here for southern Chester County.
Okay, and just for reference, Paul, you're gonna have to kind of help me out with what's going on chat. I couldn't get the iPad to work. So what he just said to me, and you might hear me kind of talking to nobody, I have a weather producer that's providing me some of the information. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning now from Chester County on east. I'm going to kind of step a little farther back. Does this include Newcastle County at all?
Yes, just the very edge there, that northwestern tip, and it's moving east at 20 miles an hour.
Okay. Okay, so just the northwestern tip of Newcastle County. So we'll likely probably see this polygon kind of go away like we have with a couple other tornado warnings once we get to 7:30, and then we're looking at the area now extending a bit farther to the east, and that tornado warning is until 8 o'clock. So we're looking at areas around Lower Oxford, Fags Manor, Elkview, also the New London area, London Grove, and also Chesterville. You can see some of the roads that run in between here. Baltimore Pike, State Road. We're looking at Penn Green Road, Church Road, Newark Road. This is getting a little bit closer to the border of Delaware at this point. So you have Hockessin right here. You have London, Britain, and then this is the county limit of Chester County to Newcastle County, Delaware. So if you are just joining us here on 6ABC, we continue to track what has been so far a very active evening with severe weather across our viewing area. So this is also moving east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Again, this newly issued tornado warning is until 8 o'clock. We're going to be on the air until the National Weather Service expires the warning, or 6, Wickerton at 7:44, 7:53 in New Garden, and the last one on the list, 7:57. So a lot going on tonight. At this point, the tornado warnings that have come through our area have all been radar indicated. I was mentioning earlier this evening when these cells were across central Pennsylvania, they were confirmed tornadoes. They did produce damage out that way. And what essentially happened is you got those cells that traveled farther east, and now they're kind of moving through our area, not so much dropping tornadoes down, but we are getting some of that spin in the atmosphere this evening here that is prompting the National Weather Service to issue some of those warnings. So what Paul is doing is kind of what I was trying to show you earlier with our relative velocity, where we are looking for what can be some rotation here. So we have the winds moving toward and away from the radar site. It's not a strong couplet that we're seeing, but if there were to be a tornado right now, it would be in this area here. So he has it kind of looping within the last couple of minutes. So you have East Nottingham right here, and we can take that area where we're seeing some of that potential rotation and track from where that part of the thunderstorm is going to. So again, this is moving east at about 20 miles per hour through Chester County. The time right now is 7:30. We're looking at 7:34 in Elkview, 7:44 in West Grove, 7:47 in Chesterville, Avondale at 7:50, 7:55 in New Garden, and 759 in Southwood. If I read off any of your communities, you want to make sure that you are in your safe location. And I mentioned it earlier, we cannot reiterate this information enough. We just had a confirmed tornado a couple of days ago up in Northampton County. Tornadoes do happen around here, and there are things that you can do to protect yourself, protect your family. It's a big holiday weekend. You might have been having a barbecue outside. You got to bring everybody indoors and get everybody into a safe location. If you have a basement, that's the best place you can go, especially if you have a big group of people. Closet, a bathroom, an interior room. What you're trying to do is to protect yourself from any of those strong winds that could be blowing in the event of a tornado. But we also know that these storms are severe thunderstorms. So even if they don't produce a tornado, you could still be looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds in your community. And that's one of the reasons why we did issue an AccuWeather alert ahead of today, because we knew the ingredients were there for strong thunderstorms on a big holiday weekend. So our entire viewing area is still currently under a severe thunderstorm watch until 11 o'clock Eastern time. Although you're not seeing anything at the Jersey Shore right now in terms of the severity of the thunderstorms that we're seeing in Chester County, the possibility is there that you could have some severe weather a little bit later on this evening. Even looking at what's going on with Storm Tracker 6 Live, a lot of these cells have weakened a bit. You can see the lightning strikes here within the last 30 minutes or so. These are just heavy downpours right now, and maybe some locally strong winds across Berks County, the Lehigh Valley, and also Montgomery County. But where we're not seeing the weakening is with that cell that moved from Lancaster County and is now moving throughout parts of Chester County. So we're looking at areas around just north of East Nottingham, the London Grove area, also Edenton, where you're seeing a lot of those lightning strikes. That is where the strongest part of the storm is, where we have some of those winds feeding in to that particular severe thunderstorm area. So maybe at this point we can look at a couple of, how about we look at the relative velocity, Paul? Maybe see if that looks any better with the latest frame. And, you know, all day today, there hasn't been a strong indication of rotation, but there's just been a little bit of a blip in the relative velocity here, kind of looking in this general area just to the northeast of East Nottingham. If there were to be a tornado, this is the area that we're looking at right here, moving east at 20 miles per hour. So again, we are looking at Chester County. This tornado warning also will work its way into parts of Newcastle County, Delaware. And we can maybe put a tracker on this again to see if we get a few more locations that pop up. All right. Right now, the time is 7:34. We're looking at 7:45 in Wickerton, Chesterville at 7:48, and the area of North Star just after 8 o'clock.